I just received a package that is going to save our CNC machine. Inside that package was this little motor, this tiny little thing, and not even the motor, the little control board on the back is what is stopping the CNC machine from running. But we have the part, I'm gonna throw it in, put everything back together. I don't even know if I showed you guys this. I had to take the whole back panel off to do some troubleshooting, just to see if it actually was this or if it was something on the main board. But I'm gonna throw everything back together and we can finally get started on some of these really cool projects for the CNC. We officially have the CNC back running. It's doing the exact same thing it did when it broke. So it's doing that final finishing pass, and then we're gonna flip that piece over and make one of these lower knuckle adapters. So I'm gonna let that finish, then flip it over. We'll make that piece, and then hopefully we can make another one of these little angled adapters for the top of the knuckle, because I have a different method I wanna use to hopefully make it a little bit better or a little bit smoother on the sides, because that one's kind of rough. But I got plenty of other things to work on, so we'll come back when that thing's ready. After a couple hours, the CNC is done. You can actually see the marks from where it broke last time. It dug in and lifted the piece up and snapped that coupling, which broke our motor. So I'm gonna set the new program. It's gonna go for like 6 or 7 hours and cut out that new piece. And hopefully it should be a better finish because we finished the underside and I have a couple passes. Last time I just knocked it all at one speed. This one I have a couple passes where it goes back in and does a nicer finish on the surface. So we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully this time it doesn't break. Many hours and another shirt change later, we have the final piece. So the last clip you saw was right before I went to go get some dinner. I let the thing just run. Came back, we had some issues with it. I think when I first came back, it had broken a bit. Not really sure why. It didn't look like the same issue last time where it had like picked the piece up and dug into it. Stuff just happens. I may have had some settings wrong. It happens. But we have, unlike this one, which isn't a horrible finish on the bottom just from me sanding it, we have the actual finished bottom and then, you know, pretty much same thing on the top. But now we get to move on to making the second one of these, which is honestly, of the 3 pieces we've made so far, has the worst finish on it. I don't know if you guys can, if it'll focus on it. So you can see there's like, you can see all the lines on my finger. It's really bumpy and again, just not a good finish. What we did with this one was we actually took this really long bit and used it the whole time. From top to bottom, used it the whole time. Now the problem that creates is there's so much force down here that when it's held up here and all the force is down here, it wants to deflect. And the longer the bit, the worse that is. So the plan on this is to actually not even ever do a roughing pass on it. Just because of the angle on it, it just is really weird. So we're gonna start with the smaller bit, which won't have deflection. We're gonna go as far as we can with it, super slow, super shallow each cut. So normally a step down would be like 0.2 millimeters, so it's taking off 0.2 at a time. We're gonna do like 0.1, super fast spindle speed, so it'll just cut right through the aluminum. And then once we get down to as far as we can go, we're gonna use the long bit and do the rest of it, which still isn't gonna be great, but we're gonna slow down the settings even more than we had them before. I think that's a decent plan. Now we just have to figure out how to clamp the piece of metal I'm gonna cut it out of, because this was the one I cut the other one out of. And yeah, you can't really clamp to a half circle, so we'll figure it out. I have no clue the last thing that you guys just saw in this video, because the last thing I filmed was about a week ago when I told you we were starting this piece. Well, it took me about a week just to finish this, and it's not even right. If you guys can see, it cut the angle and then it messed up and I couldn't get it to finish it, and so I just had to cut straight down. Still some post-processing to do on this. Can't believe it took me a week to finish. But we're moving on to something pretty cool. We've got the lower adapters done, we got the top adapters done, mostly. Now we're moving on to the spherical bearing sleeves that are gonna hold these into the upper control arms. I've already got the steel block clamped in there. I've got the program loaded. It should work. I'm going to not touch it. The only reason, the reason that one failed was because there's a little button on top of here and it stops the program, and then you can't restart from that spot. And I didn't want to let it just cut into the air for like 13 hours before it finally started hitting material again. So that's why that one's messed up. I'm gonna set it and just walk away until this one's done. It's gonna take forever. This is steel, so the other parts we were using, we were doing aluminum. You can go a lot faster with aluminum, and even this piece we had to go pretty slow, but still faster than anything we can do with steel, at least with this machine and the side bits. I do have an upgrade coming for this machine that we can use larger bits and we can hopefully go a little bit faster, considering that we might need to start using steel on some other parts. But real quick, I'll show you the piece we're gonna be making. So if you guys remember, these are the sleeves that capture the bearing. So the bearing slides in there, and then the whole thing will slide into the cup or the slot for the upper control arm. Where normally you'd put a ball joint, we're using those sleeves and a spherical bearing. Anyways, I'm gonna let this go and come back when we have something. Hopefully all goes well. Finish out this video. We have a complete sleeve. This is just the top half, not the bottom half. But it's all cut. It's got the inner piece that holds the bearing in there. It's got the flange on top so it doesn't fall through the control arm. Super impressed with the machine being able to actually cut the steel. I did have to do the whole oil thing. I have a better solution coming for that with, actually sitting right there, an actual like metal tank, and I bought like a gallon of that fluid. So improvements to come on that for 3 more of these that we have to make. And just to give you guys a little something extra, I have the bearing in the freezer right now. And I'm gonna throw this in the oven real quick, and we're gonna come back and see if we can slide them in. That'd be pretty cool to see how the fitment works. Unfortunately, I was not filming, and so you guys just saw a clip where I just tried to push this in there and hammer it in. First of all, I should have been using a socket on the outside. That was my mistake. It went in a little uneven and then just kind of stopped. So I had to reset it and push it back in. We got a little bit of progress, but it wasn't all the way in. Not a big deal. My thought was just use the vise. Vise is broken now. This is supposed to be here. Now, it is a tiny vise, and I was definitely doing more than what I should have with it, but I needed a bigger vise anyways, so win-win. But tomorrow, I guess, I'm gonna go buy a bigger vise and probably a hydraulic press. I knew we were probably gonna need one of those at some point, and there's gonna be some other stuff down the road that we're gonna need it for, so this will have to wait till tomorrow, but you guys get the idea. It's pretty in there. I don't actually think at this point I could get it back out. It's a little lopsided, but the press will fix that. One thing I forgot to mention though is, before we were gonna press this into here and then press it into the control arm, the machine cut it a little smaller, the outer one. So it cuts basically, there's a tolerance, and this machine cuts small. For the inside dimension, that's not too bad because you just use a press and press it in. For the outside, that means it's too small and it just kind of slips in there. So it's catching on something right now. But yeah, it just slips in there. That's also a good shot right there too. You can see what it's gonna look like, and there'll be a bottom half, that cup that holds all of it in. So this just sits there and spins. We need it to be still because you want the bearing to do all the spinning and rotating and all that. If you think about it, the inside is what's gonna hold these 2 pieces together from the top and from the bottom. So we don't really need an outer tolerance holding anything together. So we'll just slide these in there. I'll shade off the coating on this, and then we'll just tack the top in place. We'll tack the bottom in place as well. And then if we ever have to service this bearing in here, we'll just leave the top tacked in place, got the tacks on the bottom, push it out, put a new one in, re-tack the bottom. We have a good plan in place. Super excited, again, impressed with this machine, being able to actually cut this. We have 3 more to go. I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest, as much fun as this CNC is. It's messy. You have to stop it every couple hours to clean it because it just builds up, and I don't have the right air blowing system. You're supposed to like mist the oil into there, but I have a compressor I can hook up. But it's just gonna make the machine even more dirty than it already is. And I'd like to keep it as nice for as long as possible. But every little thing we do gets us closer. So we need to make more of these. Next, we're gonna move on to the transmission and engine, and hopefully get those permanently in the car. Because if I make that plate for the transmission, I can mount the motor. All we have to do is build a cross beam or a support brace for the back of the transmission, and it's in the car. I say every time, big stuff coming, a lot of good progress. Look for more videos. I'll see you in the next one.